Hello everybody. So I am back from my amazing 4 days that I had in Bath, where inexplicably I've gained 3 kilos. Like, how does that even happen in 4 days? I don't know. Anyone got any tips? Anyway, it was amazing. I was there. If you didn't know, if you haven't noticed on social media, I was recording a course which is going to come out in December with Hay House, and I have to say I think it's an amazing course, and I guess in a way that's what really counts. There's an old saying, I can't remember who said this, but there's an old expression, something like our own heart and not other men's opinion form our true honor. In other words, you know, I love the course, and that's what counts. I hope you will too. It's basically about moonology. I don't think I'm supposed to say too much yet. So yeah, that's going to be coming out in December. Hello, I never know how to say it. Marunisha. Thank you for saying I look lovely. It's very nice of you. So I thought what I'd talk today is I talk a little bit about Mars retrograde, okay? Because Mars retrograde is kind of like the big story, and Mars has actually just now started its Mars retrograde. I can't remember now if it was yesterday or all the days have merged into one. We were working for 12 hours a day practically in Bath, or I was, because I had to do all my regular work after hours. But Mars retrograde, I mean, it's a thing in itself, but it's also really important because of what it's doing while it retrogrades. So let's talk about what it means sort of generally and what it means in 2020, just for you to know, because there's some really, really important stuff here. And if you are a member of my Sun, Moon and Stars membership portal, there is a deep dive into this in this month's members only podcast. So I'll put a link to the membership. We've started monthly members payments as well for those of you who do want to pay for a year. So basically Mars is the engine of the zodiac, you know, like I always think of Mars literally like, you know, when you have a car and you have an engine that actually, you know, without the engine, the car just sits there. Mars is kind of like the engine of the zodiac, and without the engine, there's nothing, you know, like the car won't move. So Mars pushes us forward. And when Mars retrogrades, there is less forward motion. It can feel as though it's harder to push ahead. Now, as you probably know, Mercury goes retrograde up to 4 times a year, whereas Mars only goes retrograde about every 2 years. So Mars being retrograde now is, you know, is quite rare. So there is this thing where it's harder to push ahead in some ways, but then there's this other thing in retrogrades which most astrologers don't talk about. So I don't know if it's just me that thinks this, but to me this makes perfect sense. If you know anything about astrology, you know that when on the astrology chart there are 12 houses. In fact, in the course I've just done, we explain all the houses. And they're the sections of your life, like it might be your money zone or your love zone or your career zone or whatever. And so, you know, normally Mars will go through all those houses, taking about, about 2 years to go around the chart, okay? But when Mars goes retrograde, as Mars is doing right now, has literally just started, what happens is that instead of zipping through your love zone or zipping through your money zone or zipping through your communication zone, it actually ends up spending longer there. So on the one hand, it can be that this is a time when delays come up and it gets really frustrating, you know, and there are more arguments because Mars is very argumentative. But it can also mean, if you use it positively, there is a way that you can actually use this Mars energy and go, you know what? I've actually got Mars in my career zone or whatever, let's say it's in your career zone. I've got Mars in my career zone for much longer than usual, because normally Mars will just go through your career zone. You know, it's like the speedy, very fast burning planet. But in this case, because it's retrograding, it's going through your career zone, and then it's going backwards in your career zone, and then it's going forwards in your career zone. So ultimately, what's going to happen is you are going to have Mars energy a lot longer in your career zone. And Mars is all about action and determination and drive. So if you use this positively, it's actually a really good chance to say, you know what? I have this extra energy in my career zone or my love zone or my money zone, more than usual, and kind of harness the energy and go, okay, I can put more effort. And it might be a bit frustrating at sometimes, and there might be delays, but overall, I'm going to harness this energy. The two areas where it can be a bit tricky are if it's in your communication zone or in your love zone. So let's just think about that. So it must be Aries, Pisces, Aquarius. So I think if you're Aquarius or Aquarius rising, or you're Libra or Libra rising, and the rising is much, much more important, then you do have to be careful, because Mars will be going back either in your communication zone or your love zone. And so you are going to be getting more lessons about the way you speak, because Mars is the planet that's always looking for an argument. So you need to be a bit careful. But then also, you know, because Mars is going backwards, you can actually see it will be easier for you to kind of hold fire, you know, and to find out what happens when you don't just go blah, you know, and let rip and just tell people exactly how you feel. Yeah, so there's that as well. So now that's what Mars retrograde is. Now I want to tell you about Mars retrograde 2020, okay, and what that means. So Mars retrograde 2020 is very, very interesting for the simple reason that, so again, Mars goes forwards, then Mars goes backwards, then Mars goes forwards. Now, as Mars was going forwards, it made what's called a square, which is like a clash, okay, with the planets in Capricorn, which are like the big story of astrology at the moment and for another couple of months, and they have been for the last year or two. So it clashed with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. It's like bang, 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 because Mars is the planet of anger and danger and all that. And, you know, clashing with the planets in Capricorn, well, it hasn't been easy. And of course it hasn't been easy, because we're all been in the pandemic and it's just all been terrifying. And, you know, everybody's been worried, and some people have been, you know, arguing. Like, that's why we've had so many arguments, all these arguments about, you know, if you do or don't wear a mask. A friend of mine who is in New York at the moment wrote to me yesterday and said, at the moment in the States, you can back me up on this if it's true or not, but this is what he said. He said, in the States right now, wearing a mask is a political statement. So basically, if you are a Democrat, you wear a mask, and if you're a Republican, you don't wear a mask. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's what he said. It's like, it's a political statement. And we've had all this anger. We've had, you know, I mean, we've had some really, really difficult things going on in the world. And, you know, not least of which is also Black Lives Matter, which has been a massive, massive thing that's resounded around the world. And now we have, you know, with Mars, the fire planet, clashing with all those planets in Capricorn, we've got all the fires in Oregon, and I think on the west coast of America. So, and you know, you could probably look at the chart of the Sibley chart for America and find something there, or the geolocation. Okay, so Mars has gone forwards, and we've all had all these lessons shoved up our nose, you know, like whether we want to learn them or not. For me, I actually have quite a short fuse. You may or may not be surprised to hear. You know, people always tell me I'm so authentic and I'm so real, and that's wonderful. And I kind of am, because I don't know any other way to be. And for many years, and I've tried to curb this in the past few years, especially because of an incident that happened a couple of years ago, where I kind of lost a friend because we had a big argument. We made up. I talked about that on my Venus retrograde course, if you did that, the one where I got the orchid. Anyway, I always had this feeling that, you know, if you didn't say exactly what you think, you were kind of somehow being dishonest or inauthentic. And now I'm trying to sort of find that line. I mean, I need more Libra in my chart. I'm trying to find that line between, you know, saying what I really think and also, you know, not going too far. So for me, for example, I've had lots of lessons about that. And now, as Mars goes backwards, guess what's going to happen? Mars is going to clash with all those planets again. So Mars clashed with Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. And now Mars is going to retrograde. And guess what? Mars is going to clash with Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. I actually think it's Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn in order at the moment. And then what's going to happen is Mars is going to go direct. And this is all happening before the end of the year. And Mars is going to clash with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto again, just before Jupiter and Saturn change signs and move into the sign of Aquarius. Now, what that means is it's like, if you think of a pinball machine, it's like ping, 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 ping. Because it's like all this, you know, pings going off in our charts, like bang, 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 bang. So it's really worth finding out, if you can, where Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn are for you. I'll just tell you really, really, really quickly, okay? I'm just trying to think if there's an easy way to tell you. No, not really. So if you're really listen to your rising sign if you know it, because that's your natal chart. It's much more apt than your sun sign. Okay, I know everyone's attached to their sun sign, especially if you don't know much about astrology yet, but listen to your rising sign if you know it, and if you don't know it, find it out. moonmessages.com/free chart, one word, moonmessages.com/free chart. You can find it out there for free. So if you are Aries, or more specifically Aries rising, all this is taking place in your 10th house, so it's all about your career. If you are Taurus or Taurus rising, it's taking place in your 9th house, which is travel, study, communications, the internet. And if you're a Taurus rising like me, it's actually about publishing as well. Gemini or Gemini rising, it's taking place in your 8th house, which is all to do with sex and money, and also about the things people don't like to talk about. If you are a moon child, Cancer or Cancer rising, well, it's taking place in your 7th house of relationships. So you're someone who's going to be going through a lot of stuff to do with other people and how you handle them and how you react to them. If you're Leo or Leo rising, it's taking place in your 6th house, which is to do with your daily work and health and your routines. If you're Virgo or Virgo rising, it's taking place in your 5th house. So romance, creativity, and children are all going to be the issues. If you're Libra or Libra rising, it's taking place in your 4th house, which is home and family. Okay, lots of issues coming up there. If you're Scorpio or Scorpio rising, it's taking place in your 3rd house. So that's all about the way you communicate, the way you come across in the world, the message you're putting out, also to do with neighbours and short trips. If you're Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, it's taking place in your 2nd house, which is cash, property and possessions, and also your self-esteem. If you are Capricorn or Capricorn rising, guess what? It's taking place in your sign, okay? So especially whether you're Capricorn or Capricorn rising. In other cases, it's all about the rising sign. In this one, it's really whether you're Capricorn or Capricorn rising, because it's taking place in your sign or your 1st house, and it's big. So basically, it's a massive, massive chance for Capricorns to completely transform themselves. But as they can attest, it won't be easy. And then if you're Aquarius or Aquarius rising, it's taking place in your 12th house. So it's actually a chance for you to transform yourself spiritually, but it's also about blasting out your fears, working on what really scares you and getting over it, getting to the bottom of it, seeing where that fear comes from and working through it, because pretty soon you're going to have Saturn in your sign and you want to be through as many of your fears as you can. Take note. And you've been warned. And Pisces or Pisces rising, it's taking place in your 11th house, which is all about your friends. So there's going to be a lot going on there as well. So that's basically what's happening. You've been challenged, now you're being challenged again, and now we're all going to be challenged again. It's actually going to happen, so 2 more times now that Mars is going retrograde and Mars is going to go forwards again before Christmas. So that's why this Mars retrograde is so important, because it's literally lighting up our charts like the proverbial Christmas tree that we're all going to have, and in a few months, and really making sure that we've learned our lessons of the last 2 years, okay? The last 2 years, especially because Saturn's been in Capricorn for 2 years. And what's going to happen at the end of December is Jupiter, the planet of good luck, and Saturn, the planet of karma, are both going to change signs and move into Aquarius, and everything is going to change. So I'm going to leave it. Actually, before I leave it there, let me just quickly look and see if anyone's got any messages, any questions. In the UK, does anyone know how to find out the time you were born? Where would it be recorded? Yes, Andrew says it's, yes, probably either, I mean, is there a birth, deaths and marriages registry in the UK? Otherwise, yes, do check the hospital. What else have we got? Monica says, I could feel lots of angry people around, yes. Kathy says, I look fabulous. Thank you. You know, I have not a scrap of makeup on. I've spent the past week every morning just waking up, getting in the shower, and then literally drying myself off and getting back into my PJs and going and getting hair and makeup. It was amazing, but now I'm back to home and I have put, not a scrap, no, I put some lip gloss on. That's about it. What else? Not more arguments. Well, that's the whole point, is like, try not to have arguments. And Jerry says plus Mars is squaring Saturn. Yeah, which is exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, Louise says highly recommended Sun, Moon and Stars membership. Thank you, Louise. Yes, anyone who wants to join the membership, I'm pretty sure we have a link on the front page of my site, yasminboland.com. At the very least, you can join the Moonlight Club, and I think there we give you opportunities to upgrade. So, yep, that seems to be about it. Hello, Gemma. Have a beautiful day, everybody. And I'm going to end with a chant. Three times to the goddess Kali, because I'm actually going to start doing the chanting again for real this time. Because my teacher in India, Sri Shakti Narayani Amma, just did a 40-day Kali Yagam. And I felt like it was pretty much taken care of, because it was a 16 Bij mantra sound mantra, which we were told, don't try this at home because it will fry you. It's so powerful. So I've been watching that on and off for the past 40 days. But now I'm going to get back into doing the Mahakali chanting. And I actually think I'm going to go back to Zoom. So all of you who used to do it on Zoom and want to do it on Zoom again, I'm going to do it there because I feel like it's kind of a bit more of a private thing. I don't necessarily want to do it on Facebook for all the world to see. I would just really want people who want to be a part of it to be there, not just because people are scrolling through their phones. But I'll go back to doing my daily messages on Facebook as well. So there we go. So I'm going to end with 3 chants to the goddess Kali, and it's Om Cream, which is the Bij mantra sound for Kali, Maha Kali, Great Mother Kali, Sarva Rogam Nasi Nasi. All negativity, go away, go away. And as I always say, every morning that I do this, all negativity includes the virus, all illness, and a big, big one for us all now, all fear. So here we go. Om Krim Mahakali Sarvarogam Nasi Nasi. 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 We send out the energy of healing and protection to all our family, our friends, everyone here today, watching the live or the rebroadcast, our cities, our countries, and Mother Earth. It's always a vibe changer. All right, guys, I will see you back here at some random time on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend.